Hey Team APUS, this is Mark Bond from the Criminal Justice Department, and welcome to our short tutorial on how to interpret a peer-reviewed journal article. Now, this tutorial is basically designed for the 1 to 200 level student who has not yet taken a research methods class, but still needs to understand and use peer-reviewed journal articles in your work. So let me show you. We're actually in the EBSCOhost database. And this is in the online library. And there's two things that I need to do right away to start my search. Now here's my search engine. So I'm going to be looking for articles that are on police officers killed on duty. And I also want to go down here and limit my results by clicking on full text and peer review. This is great to actually click on these because then when the search engine activates, the only thing it's going to pull up is full text of complete articles, and it's going to be only peer-reviewed journal articles. So let me kind of see what's actually going to be in our search when I pull this up. All right, it's showing me I have two results right here. That's good. Police officers killed on duty. All right, this looks like a good article, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start exploring this. Look at this. It's telling me it's an academic journal, so just at a quick view, real quick, I can tell that it's an academic journal, and I can also see over here, look at it. Here's the name of it just by looking, and I can just take a quick look, and look at this. This is 2013, and again, one of the best things you want to look for when you're looking for your peer-reviewed journal articles, you want to use something that's less than 5 years old, something that's current and relevant research. You don't want to go back 10, 12, 13 years, when you're just writing your articles in the class, and unless there's a specific reason for you to go find a framework or something, you probably want to stay within 5 years. So that's a good rule of thumb when you start looking for your articles. But I can also see that it has a DOI number. So, okay, look, full text. So let me go ahead and click on this article and actually see what it's all about here. All right, just off to the left here in this article, I can get the PDF file that's going to be in a full text just by clicking here. But let me show you some other features that you can use in EBSCOhost. Now, this is telling me it's International Journal of Police Science and Management. I'm already knowing now that I'm in a peer-reviewed journal article. And it's summer 2013. Look, it's going to give me my volume and everything. So here's the abstract of it. So I can quickly cruise through the abstract and see if this is an article I want to read. I think I could possibly use this in my work. So, okay, I really like this. So let me go ahead and click on the full text and actually see what this article is all about. I'm going to just go ahead and open the article up real quick. All right, here's the full article. Now, there's several ways that you can save full articles. What I usually like to do is have a folder on my desktop with my class name and articles that I find interesting as I find through my research from my forums and other assignments through the class. I know that I'm going to be building and working towards my term project and paper, so I might want to save this article because I might want to use this information later in my term paper. So I could save it to a PDF file and actually put it on my desktop, or you could use the tools within the online library and save and start building your own library, your personal library within a library. But that's totally up to you. I find it real easy that I can put it into a quick folder that I make on my desktop, and by doing that, I can quickly download it to a thumb drive and put it on another computer, take it with me real quick. So that's personally what I like to do. So let's look at this article and kind of dissect it and show you what things that you should look for and things that maybe you should stay away with until you really understand the research methods, but you still need to use this article. So this article starts off and it's going to give you the author's information, a little bit of history about them. So it's kind of neat to kind of read where they're going to come. But here's the abstract of the article. Again, that's what you read on the first page. So the abstract will kind of give you a quick highlight and a good, what's this article all about? But usually in any peer-reviewed article, you're going to start with the introduction. The introduction is actually going to be, what is the problem? Why was this article written? It's going to usually introduce a problem that the author believes is happening, and they're going to go ahead and then talk about why they've decided to research on this topic. And again, look through here. I mean, it's really good. Police deaths in the line of duty. They actually start their literature review. And the second part usually of it is a literature review. What happens now when the authors go to write this paper and to find themes in their paper for the research, they'll actually do a literature review. And from the literature review, they're going to find either a hypothesis or questions that they want further investigated. So the literature review has them doing a lot of research and reading articles to kind of come up with some themes from it. So that's what the literature review actually is. So if you ever hear that word literature review, that means that someone has actually gathered a bunch of different articles, current articles, and they've analyzed those articles and they found themes from it. So all right, so you just skim down, and it's got some great information you want to use. Now, again, what I would caution you to do is you don't really want to use a lot of quotes in your criminal justice writing. You want to paraphrase. Using a lot of quotes really shows not the critical thinking and analysis. So if you find things in here that really support the position that you think you want to take, or you read through here and has an opposing viewpoint, this is a really good time to take note of that section where it's at in the paper. And again, when you go back to write your paper, your in-text citations, you want to give credit to the sources that inspired your thoughts. And that's the whole reason we use references, and we also use in-text citations within our APA style papers. So now this is a section I want to talk to you about because you haven't had your research methods class. This could be a little bit confusing to you. So it's going to talk about different research methodologies. What I really am asking you to do in a 1 to 200 level class is kind of just skim that. You might want to come, look at it and see if it makes a little sense to you. But this isn't going to be the meat of the article right now that you need to worry about. But this is going to tell you, and again, you're going to see a lot of numbers if it's quantitative, qualitative. So again, don't get caught up so much on this because it might even look like stereo instructions for you. But you will learn this. So after the method section usually comes, the results, the analyzing of the data that they collected. So again, some of the results, they might make sense to you. Just kind of cruise through it and stuff, but don't hang on this part. Where you want to jump down to is what's the conclusion, what the author says. At this point, you're not really looking to analyze the methods that they use. Could they have done something different? Not at this point. What you really are looking for is the meat that's in this article that really talks about it. So let's just talk about this conclusion. Look what they said. Look what the author said in here about the hypothesis of married law enforcement officers with children will be killed at a lower rate than single law enforcement officers was supported as the most sophisticated level of the analysis of this report. So what they're saying right here, this was consistent with our theory that officers were greater look at this, social investment with children and family are less likely to become fatal wounded by a gunshot while on duty. And what the author is saying from my analysis on this, that officers that are married, that have families, are more invested and they're not likely to take chances as a younger officer, maybe have some tombstone courage or something. So, this is a really good article that you might want to use in something like that. But let me show you another part of the article that is really a part that you should look at. Look at the references that the author used for in his literature review. You can find some of these words right here and take some of these articles and actually then go back and find the primary source. Look at some of these articles that he actually. So this is a great place to find your articles. And sometimes as well, at the very beginning, look at the keywords. This is a good thing for your search engine. Look, yes, police officers, law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty, murder, loss of life. These are all keywords that would bring up similar type articles. So when you're doing your search, always look for the keywords and note these keywords right here. These keywords are really going to help you, again, when you redefine your searching for different articles. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this article, and I want to show you one more really neat feature that I think you guys are really going to enjoy with this. Now, here we're back at where we found the article, but if you click over here, you see where it says Cite? I'm going to go ahead and just click on Cite. And look at this. There's your APA style reference right here for you. Now, sometimes you have to tweak it because they might give you all the authors, the first names of the authors, which we know that's not how we do APA style, but just remember, you might just have to tweak it. But look at this. This I'm really impressed with this one. This one's in APA 6th edition. Now remember, you need a double space and a hanging indentation, but look how the journal names in italics. I actually have my volume number, my issue number. Here's the pages of the article, and it has a DOI number. And remember, a DOI number is always going to start with a 10. So now by just copying this, look, I can copy and paste this right here into a Word document, and then just format it in double space and get my hanging indentation. But now I've got my reference. I actually have my reference for me that I can put into my paper. And what's great about it, again, I got my full text saved, so I can use this later on in some of my research. You know, a good article, when you write a good paper, rather, you want to add 3 to 4 good articles, and you want to really analyze the article. You just don't want to give a historical overview. You want to see what the author said. You know, in this case right here, the author was saying basically that police officers who are married and have something, you know, with family and have responsibility aren't likely to take risks. And they found through their research, through statistical analysis, that these officers are shot less in the line of duty. So that's just something to think about too. I mean, when you're doing your research, start to analyze it and critically think, because this is the whole part of really writing our papers. We're really starting to analyze when we start to critically think. And remember in the class when you hear your professors talk about, hey, we want to talk about the theory and how does this apply to real world. Now, writing this article on stress management, how police officers are killed in the line of duty, I can really start to analyze why some younger officers might take risks. Because think about it, when we're all younger, we sometimes don't see the big picture and we have tombstone courage. We rush in, we don't critically think about it. But officers who really are supporting people that have a wife and children aren't likely to take this risk. And this is what this study basically, you know, from a quick glance is really what it's saying. So these are the things you want to look for in your articles. And again, if you have any questions at all, contact your professor. They're there to help you. So thanks a lot, guys. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the tutorial on how to interpret a peer-reviewed journal article.